My name is Xian. My nickname is Xian MSG, so that's about the same. And my professional in video games is Street Fighter 6. So I'm 33 years old right now. I'm born from Singapore, and I've been gaming since I was young, about 6 years old. So in fact, I've been gaming for like almost 26 years already. And it's been a really long journey. Since young, I started playing fighting games like King of Fighters, Marvel, Street Fighter, from Third Strike, EX2, and all the way until right now where it's Street Fighter 6. It felt like almost a century has gone through, and it has been an amazing, hit on my life so far. I think the first Street Fighter game I played was Street Fighter EX or Street Fighter Third Strike. That was back in, I think, 1997. And that was the first fighting game that I actually played in the arcade. And it feels really amazing when I actually tried it because it's actually really complicated and difficult, and I was really surprised at how people actually enjoy playing that. So the first Street Fighter I played was in the arcade, and I felt a lot of emotions for it because the game is very difficult and combos are really, really hard to execute it. But back in the days, there are only games like, there's not even computer games much around, and to have such a complicated game that requires so much precision was making me really fantasize about it. And I was really enjoying it so much, especially during the start of the era, that fighting games is actually that great. I think back in the days, nobody really plays fighting game for money. I was going to arcade to play just because I really enjoy it as a passion. There was also very little prize money when it comes to fighting games. Even 10-15 years ago, not to say when I was younger, the prize money was even lower. So nobody really played this as a career, just only because they enjoy it. And it's really fascinating to see that how things has moved on to an extent where I actually gonna have a chance to win 1 million, in the finals. So everything just felt really amazing. I think all the different versions of Street Fighter gives me a lot of different experience. I started from Street Fighter 4 and moving to Street Fighter 5 and 6. I felt like every iteration makes me a better player because I can move on from all the experience from one to the other, and that really keep making me a better player. So even though I keep growing as a better player, I felt like the competition from the past compared to now has also grew so much. So it gets really more and more exciting to compete at this level right now because everybody is so good. I think Daigo's comeback, well, the 37 moment is almost not a single fighting game player doesn't know about it. It was a moment where Daigo did something so miracle in front of a big crowd. When I saw it, I also get really inspired. Even though back then I don't even know who Daigo Umehara is. But that was one thing that makes me enjoy, and want to come and watch fighting game again. Because the game that he did, the 37 moment, was the first game that I started with Third Strike as well. That definitely leaves a big impact, in how I decided to come back to play Street Fighter again. My most motivation, really is different from time to time. I feel that at the beginning, I was doing this all for passion, and I don't even care about the money at all because there isn't really a lot of money to be talked about fighting games at the start. So it was just really because I wanted to win and wanted to, just put Singapore on the map, just wanted to compete, it's a hunger of myself. But I felt like as time goes by, I can't deny to say that with the prize pool getting as high as a 2 million prize pool right now, I think a little bit was being separated more towards money as well. I'm also a lot motivated to compete because of money, and not only just passion, just because now the prize pool is really different. So I think it's a mix of both right now. I think 2023, it really depends on different people, but I feel like it's one of my worst years. It started out really bad because after COVID, there isn't a lot of tournaments, and we only have one chance, And this year at the beginning was the only time that I didn't qualify for Capcom Cup, even though I qualified for the Street Fighter League. So during Street Fighter 6 came out in June, that was where I was really motivated, and I started getting a lot of good results in locals and Southeast Asia region. And till now, like I was winning a lot of China tournaments as well as the qualifying for Capcom Cup X next year. So I would say that it's a very big roller coaster for me for 2003. So it started out really downwards, and then it goes really up, And I'm really excited to see where this will bring me next year, because I felt really ready to get into Capcom Cup X to fight again. I think most of my fans, what they love about me is I always like to use unorthodox character. I always like to use characters that are not very popular, and that has been my trademark for a very long time, And I hope they are not too disappointed that now I'm using one of the best characters in the game, The era has kind of changed. Street Fighter 6 is a new game, and I move on to a different approach, and then now changing towards using a more mainstream character. And I would like to still go back to using, rare characters, but for now I really enjoy the success I had with this character, so with DJ. So we will see how things will go. So Gaimin Gladiator is a winning team. I first heard of them, during Dota, and it was a very big esports team. Being able to join Gaimin Gladiators was definitely a dream, and I feel that this will only put a lot of pressure on me wanting to win the next, just for the team itself, just because when you join a winning team, you tend to want to bring a lot of results and achievement for the team. And I myself really like pressure. I feel like that motivates me to, it's just not just a single player game anymore. I can feel like if I can do it, a lot of people will be happy along, at Gaimin Gladiator as well as me. So this is a very big motivation for me, and I want to do very well, with Gaimin Gladiators in 2024. I would like to say thanks for all the support, especially the GG crowd, and I hope that in Los Angeles, I'll bring up a really good show for you guys. And finally, I would like to thank to all the sponsors and all the fans for supporting me, and I really appreciate. Without you guys, I wouldn't be here. And see you next time.